From allegations of Offset's involvement with Quavo's partner, to his surprising legal battle against the very record label that propelled their careers, there has been mounting evidence suggesting that the cracks in this iconic group were present long before the unfortunate passing of Takeoff. In fact, some might argue that the tensions began as early as 2017, when Offset started dating Cardi B. Today, we'll dive deep into the series of events that led to the breakup of the Migos. Stick around until the end and share your thoughts on who you believe is responsible for this downfall. Once upon a time, the Migos seemed like an unstoppable force. Many were amazed at how the trio managed to stay united for so long, without any publicized conflicts. A popular question during interviews was, how do you all manage to stay so tight as a team? Around this time, we usually start seeing groups disband, falling into drama and disagreements. Over the years, countless musical acts, from NWA to Destiny's Child and Blink-182, have split due to internal friction, often sparked by disputes over compensation and recognition, as was the case with Ice Cube and NWA. It's not too far-fetched to think that finances may have played a role in the Migos' troubles as well, particularly after Offset's relationship with Cardi B began in 2017. By that time, you'd assume that money would be the least of their worries. The Migos were riding high with the release of their hit track Bad and Bougie, promoting their first Culture album, which is still considered their best work by many. But, as we'll explore later, some of the lyrics from this very song would return to haunt them, playing a small yet significant role in their eventual downfall. Following the success of their debut album, the Migos capitalized on the momentum by releasing Culture 2, which exceeded expectations. Hits like Motorsport, Walk It Talk It, and Stir Fry catapulted the trio even further, allowing them to match the legendary Beatles in the number of simultaneous tracks on the Billboard Hot 100. Although some critics felt that Culture 2 was too lengthy and lacked the impact of the first, it still managed to sell more in its opening week. They even went on to tour with Drake that same year, a tour so successful that they had to add more dates, ultimately bringing in a staggering $80 million. Given this level of success, it might be surprising to hear that financial tension could have existed within the group. How could they possibly have issues over money? And where does Cardi B factor into all of this? Well, let's take a closer look. A critical point to note is that Offset was the first among the trio to explore solo projects after getting into a relationship with Cardi B. He collaborated with 21 Savage on the 2017 album Without Warning, and a few years later, he released his solo album. This opened the floodgates for Quavo and Takeoff to pursue solo ventures as well, but Offset's projects, particularly his track Clout featuring Cardi B, garnered much more attention than his bandmates' efforts. In fact, Clout remains one of the top 5 most viewed videos on the Migos YouTube channel, which can't be said for Quavo or Takeoff's solo work. It's easy to see why Offset might have been considering a full-time solo career, given the success of his solo efforts. However, despite Offset's growing ambitions, Quavo downplayed any intentions of the group members going fully solo. That being said, evidence suggests that Offset's outlook differed from his counterparts. The most significant proof of this came in 2022, when Offset took the bold step of suing their label, Quality Control, over the rights to his solo music. This was especially shocking given how the Migos had been loyal to the label for an entire decade, with no prior issues, let alone public disputes. With Cardi B's net worth towering over Offset's, it's likely that his relationship with her motivated him to aim for greater financial independence, which could explain his decision to take legal action. He might have felt pressure to elevate his status to avoid being perceived as financially inferior in his relationship. But was money the only driving factor here? Not necessarily. What unfolded in 2022 might hold the missing piece that ties everything together. The global pandemic disrupted nearly every industry, from schools to businesses, and even sparked a bizarre toilet paper shortage. For music lovers, the delay of new releases from their favorite artists caused much frustration, and the Migos were no exception. Their long-awaited album Culture 3 was repeatedly delayed, much to the dismay of fans who were eager for it after Culture 2 didn't quite live up to expectations. Despite working on the album for months, the group had to wait for contributions from other artists, which resulted in a 2.5-year hiatus. Even with the extended time, Culture 3 ended up being one of their most poorly received projects. Music critic Anthony Fantano even called it one of the most creatively bankrupt things Migos have ever put their names to, awarding it a low rating. Reddit threads soon emerged, with fans questioning if the group had lost their edge. Some claimed that Migos had simply become too Hollywood, while others pointed to the fact that they dropped an excessive 55 songs in 2018 alone, many of which sounded too similar. However, there was clearly more going on behind the scenes. This became evident when Quavo and Takeoff released their joint project Only Built for Infinity Links, under the name UNC and Few, a move that signaled a deeper rift within the trio. The Migos members had always ventured into solo projects, and there were plenty of tracks that only featured two out of the trio, but something felt different this time. After their latest release, fans quickly noticed a significant move. Cardi B and Offset had unfollowed Quavo and Takeoff on social media. In the celebrity world, unfollowing someone carries more weight than it might seem, and soon enough, the internet was buzzing. This signaled that all was not well within the Migos camp. This was the turning point where many in the rap community started to believe that the group might truly be headed for a breakup. But what exactly went wrong? More signs emerged in June 2022 when the trio skipped their scheduled performance at the Governor's Ball. The members remained silent on rumors and avoided addressing the growing speculation. While some fans believed it was all part of an elaborate publicity stunt for an upcoming album, clues hidden within the lyrics of Quavo and Takeoff's album seemed to reveal the truth, and much of it pointed back to the complicated dynamic between Cardi B and Offset. Offset's loyalty in his marriage with Cardi B had been called into question numerous times. One infamous incident was when he suspiciously hid his phone during a live stream as Cardi walked into the room. Things took a darker turn when, just 3 months into their marriage, an intimacy tape involving Offset and another woman surfaced. But how did these personal issues impact his music career and his bond with Migos? It turns out that Offset may have been hinting at this tension all along through his lyrics. Now, it's common for rappers to boast about romantic escapades with other people's partners, often in a playful or exaggerated way. But for the Migos, these lyrics seem to have manifested into reality, eventually tearing the group apart. And the one left with the short end of the stick was Quavo. Back in 2018, Quavo entered a high-profile relationship with rapper and singer Saweetie. The couple appeared to be a new hip-hop power duo, staying together for a few years until their sudden and shocking breakup in 2021. The abrupt split fueled rumors that something serious had happened behind the scenes. Not long after, Quavo and Takeoff announced Only Built for Infinity Links, and the title of the project seemed to take on a deeper meaning given the group's internal turmoil. Once the album dropped, fans quickly honed in on a particular lyric in the song Messy. In this track, Quavo seemingly aimed jabs at both his ex, Saweetie, and Offset. Their breakup in 2021 had already been clouded by rumors of infidelity. Quavo even referenced Saweetie's appearance on Carisha Please, a podcast hosted by Young Miami of City Girls, where she opened up about her heartbreak over the breakup. When the track Messy dropped, many believed that Quavo was implying that Saweetie had cheated on him with Offset, triggering the group's eventual split. Some even speculated that Lil Baby may have been involved. Though none of those involved have confirmed the details, the silence from everyone speaks volumes. Fans were left to assume that Offset had crossed the line, this time at the expense of his lifelong friend. While the speculation continued to swirl, a tragic event occurred that would forever alter the Migos' fate. Takeoff, widely known for being the quietest and most level-headed member of the group, was unalived in Houston. Rumors quickly circulated that Quavo might have been responsible, as he had reportedly argued with several men over a dice game. According to authorities, the altercation turned physical and 2 individuals opened fire. However, subsequent reports cleared Quavo of responsibility. Takeoff's death was devastating. He was loved within the rap community, often described as one of the most genuine and kind-hearted artists. To lose him over a senseless altercation, one that he wasn't even involved in, felt especially heartbreaking. In the aftermath, Quavo and Offset briefly reunited, but their relationship remained strained. Even after the tragic loss of their bandmate, they have yet to fully reconcile. Although they came together for a performance at the BET Awards, the tension between the two was evident once again at the Grammys, where an alleged backstage fight broke out. Cardi B reportedly had to step in to break up the altercation, but Quavo still took the stage alone to honor Takeoff that night. Now, almost a year since Takeoff's passing, there seems to be little hope for a full reconciliation between Quavo and Offset. The two were seen courtside at an Atlanta Hawks game last season but kept their distance, sitting far apart. Recently, Quavo threw shade at Offset for getting a tattoo of Takeoff on his back, stating that Takeoff should be carried in one's heart, not on one's skin. This comment stands in stark contrast to Takeoff's own sentiments from an interview aired just months before his death. To complicate matters further, Offset made a shocking revelation, claiming that he isn't actually related to Quavo or Takeoff, shutting down long-standing rumors that they were family. In the meantime, Quavo has just released a tribute album for Takeoff and is actively working with Vice President Kamala Harris to tackle issues related to fireweapon violence. Offset, on the other hand, is preparing to release his own album and has been heavily involved in a press tour. The big question remains: will these two find a way to mend their relationship, or will pride and ego continue to drive them apart despite their shared grief? Only time will tell. The breakup of Migos is a story filled with ambition, loyalty, and heartbreak. While Takeoff's untimely passing brought Quavo and Offset back together for a moment, the deep-rooted tension between them still lingers. Will they ever find their way back to the brotherhood they once shared? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep the music alive and stay tuned for more stories that dive deeper than the headlines.